All right, well, here we are, Paul. Now, not necessarily invited in, as I pointed out in an earlier clip, as regular media, although we have not seen Ezra be pushed out the door either, so it seems like it's an even playing field.
Yep.
But I think it's interesting for us to have a quick discussion that we share with people about being in Calgary, because, yes, the Conservative Convention is going on, but Alberta is in the midst of a quandary over what to do next. What do you think about the whole separation thing?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I had breakfast with a local business person here, a prominent business person, and I asked him the same question. And the interesting answer I got was, you know, I'm not really following it. And I was like, what do you mean you're not following it? He said, I follow a little bit of it, but he says, you got to remember, there's so many political parties here. So, and I before we came out, we did a little bit of a survey of the number of political factions that are in Alberta.
It's remarkable.
There's 14 that I could find, different political active parties with memberships here.
Should we start a party while we're here?
Right. But so then I said to him, I said, well, but you do realize, and the thing that's caught our attention is this movement, this separation movement, this group that we're going to talk to later, basically started off with a protest or a signing of about 1,000 people. Then it went to 2,000 people. Then it went to 3, and it went to about 10,000 people the other night. So this is something that's growing.
But quickly.
Quickly. So it's exponentially growing.
Yeah.
So that's what I think we got to watch. And quite frankly, the timing is very interesting. So the timing of this exponential growth coming into the conservative leadership election, right, to see if they're going to bring Pierre back or not, is very interesting timing, which could collide together and cause a very interesting couple days in Calgary.
I would agree. It's almost like it's the distraction that maybe Pierre needed to be able to say, well, look outdoors. All you have to do is look outside in Alberta and see Canadians are not happy the way they are.
Well, it is a test case, right, Mike?
Yeah.
So it is a test case. So, you know, one of the criticisms, you know, that the Prime Minister and the Liberal Party have been getting is they're too far away from the common man, right? Now, we're in oil and gas territory. So even when you come into the airport, when you land in Calgary, you do see, like, you realize these are guys who are working on the oil rigs. These are guys who are working in the manufacturing. These are blue collar guys, right?
And the price of oil in this province makes a huge difference, right down to whether they go to restaurants, that you can buy the next thing, put an addition on your house, or even send your kids to school, is so dependent on that price per barrel that it's a great test case in Canada.
Well, and you know, it's interesting. I was looking at the long-term forecasting for oil and gas pricing. Yeah. It's $65 a barrel. Okay. So now that's on the optimistic side. Yeah. So at $65, you know, people live okay, but it's not boom, like you're not in boom era, right? At $60, you're in trouble. Under $60, it's bad. So now, if things go, you know, this is the interesting part. If Venezuela takes off, as we talked about, and, you know, the need for us to ship to the U.S. goes down, pricing goes down, right? The world surplus is so much that the pricing goes down, then we're in trouble, right?
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's our forecasted price per barrel, but is that counting all of the trade deals that have fallen apart globally, us being late to the table potentially, and then not even having a competitive product because it's flooded in the market potentially from Venezuela at a price nobody could compete with? Yeah,
well, and you know, so think about it. So you're like I mentioned too, you know, one of the people who've come out here, you've made your home, you've got a home, you've got a business, you've put your equity in Calgary. All of a sudden, the bottom drops out of the oil prices, your equity is gone, right? So these people who are coming to the street are worried. They're concerned. Like, you know, and you can see it on their faces as they're starting to sign petitions. They want to know what their future is. They want to know what the pipeline future is, and what's going to happen here. And so we're at that kind of crossroads where the government either needs to jump in and start to move a ball to get into the game, or they don't. And then if they don't, you know, that's our conversation this afternoon. What is their next move? And on the heels of that, in Ottawa right now, you know, the Premier of Alberta is there at the meeting. I'm sure she's asking the same questions at the table.
She seems to be there, maybe under protest to some degree. All right, this is the focus. Calgary. While we're here, what's going on with separation, what's going on with the convention, the Conservative Party, and we're going to meet some people both on the business end and just people who live in Calgary and the rest of Alberta to find out what life is like. So thanks. Here we go.
There we go.
Oh, by the way, look at this.
Yeah, look at this.
Hi, Calgary. All
Hi,
right,
Calgary.
there we go. We've arrived.